Yeah. So, let's see if this audio is actually picking up. This is your host, Steve, from the back, coming at you again. Raw and unscripted as always. Yeah, I'm finishing chewing something in my mouth. Don't judge me. I could care less, though I get a bunch of judgment anyway. You know, because I'm just, that type of guy, that gets judgment. So, the title of this run, I feel like I need structure. I say this, but I'm horrible at it, and I always like say, oh, I'm gonna have structure in my rants. There is no structure. There just is no structure. There's no structure at all. With nothing. There's like no structure now. With nothing. There's structure now for reasons. Court reasons. But there really is no structure. But what I was saying was the title of this rant is called Find Yourself. And, I really just thought of doing this rant, simply because, oh, here comes the hiccups. Oh, damn. Hiccups are painful. Sometimes. Fuck. Come on, man. Trying to rant. But, like I was saying before I was interrupted, was, it's called Find Yourself, and I thought of this rant because I was thinking, a weird person like myself who believes in the spiritual, who believes in, extraterrestrials, who believes in the paranormal, who believes in the idea, which we've heard this before. Many people have heard this idea. It's kind of like a concept. The concept is that as working class citizens, generally without a bunch of money, that would lead to having a bunch of time, technically. I mean, you could have a bunch of money and you don't really have any time. It depends. But there is a such thing, it's a beautiful thing, the hack of, the passive income once you get to a certain level. So there's some idle time there, So, and if you know about investing and about, passive income and trying to have many sources of income, what type of game that is, right? Which is something that all of us would love to have and try to reach, I'm just trying to get my channel to get views and trying to get my channel going and get a fan base and get but it's really hard out here, you guys. It's not easy to even get any traction. So, there's so much that I want to do. There's so many type of things that I want to have as like content and on footage, on camera. There's so many ideas I have that are fun, but like for me to even get to doing anything, it's going to take a while, so sadly it'll just have to be rants for now, but for the most part. But what I was gonna say is, as working class citizens, we have this thing where, and I started to talk to this with someone, and I'm not trying to call this guy dumb or anything. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I was surprised. I was surprised at like how he just seemed like, to him it was odd. It was an odd thing to even be talking about. Like, I'm thinking like, see, that's the problem. That's actually the whole problem. The problem is that we are too programmed. as people, as a culture. It is, I'm not just talking about like me being black, because there's differences. There's some differences in my culture uh, to other culture, other races. But generally, like, all of us have a programming, and we have this idea that, number one, it's weird to think about certain things. Number two, it's weird to talk about certain things. Number three, um, we're just so used to getting up and like you have to always do a certain thing. Like it's like, oh, I got to get up and get my coffee, and it's thinking like, are you actually? Do you really actually need the coffee? Like, should you really be drinking the coffee? You know what I mean? Like, is your body reliant on it? Do you want it, that crutch? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's just what I mean. Is like, it's just like spending money. Like, if you're spending money on certain things, like, what are you planning to do with these things? Like, what's your reasoning? Are you just collecting? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's like, and it's the real concept though. What I'm really going to talk about, all the other stuff is just like small, thin layers of what I'm getting to. What I'm really trying to get down to the bottom of is the problem that we move too fast with how we do our pacing is too fast and too automatic as a society. Okay, it's too easy for us to just be like, okay, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, I'm out the door. And my question is this, is like, are there things that you would rather be doing? Are there things that you actually want to do or that you always wanted to do, but you realize that it's a challenge, whether it's even just mentally or you have some type of social anxiety or whatever is holding you back? My question is like, have you thought out a plan or any type of plans to combat the obstacles that are between you and that, wherever it is? It's like, or do you just numb yourself? Do you drink a lot? Do you smoke a lot? Do you do a lot of things? Are you basically like numb to what's going on in your normal day? Like, are you like, don't get me wrong, I feel like, and I'm just being honest, sometimes drugs can put a person in a state to where they actually really go deep in themselves and they really start like having epiphanies, and it can have an awakening in a person. So I'm not saying, see, the problem is when people abuse drugs is the problem. That's really what the problem is. When you abuse a drug is where, is the opposite of what it could really do. So what I'm trying to say is like, are you a person that you are on autopilot all the time? Are you a person that you don't take the time to think about anything that's deep? It's always the most shallow, mundane thing. Like, it's always just like, oh, where are you going to eat? What restaurant are you going to go to? Oh, you got to go get gas. Some nonsense about your spouse, your baby mom, or your friggin' kids or whatever, or your dog, or it's always some stupid, it's like the most mundane thing. Like, and then, you laugh at other people and you're thinking like, oh, well, that's weird. Like, why would someone want to go out and try to meditate? Or why would someone want extra time, even if it's days, to simply try to figure certain things out that are a mental thing? Or even if it's like something like you are trying to maybe realize that, is there anything true to that you could spiritually believe something and have an actual tangible result? You know what I mean? Or you're actually searching for the evidence or manifestation of something that is maybe spiritual. Some people just laugh, or they just laugh at it automatically, like it's a joke, like it's, because they just don't believe. So in me, I'm satanic, so it's not necessarily the perspective of the normal, because I don't think Satanism is that normal to me. It seems weird. It seems like when I tell people about it, or I tell people, small things about it, they just look at me with this weird look, like as if it's like automatically like this Hollywood program of what they seen in Hollywood washes over their brain, and they automatically attach Satanism to that, and then they attach me to that because of that. And they don't understand, like, nah, this is just, it's really just practices, principles, and a couple books. And there's some culture behind it because it's been around long enough to even have, like, style and aesthetic to it. You know what I mean? Like, Satanism has its fashion, it has its culture, it has its, like, understanding, it has tenets, because it's a culture, just like Christianity or Catholicism or anything else, or Hinduism or whatever. Any other thing has its, like, styles, its fashion, its teachings, its like systems. It's not the same thing, but it's just another thing. You know, it's not it's not chaos for the sake of chaos, or malicious things just for the sake of malicious things. That's not really even close, by any means, really. But you know, what I'm really trying to say is we have a real serious culture problem going on right now. It's really serious, man. It's a serious culture problem. And I will say, this is one of the biggest problems. One of the biggest parts of this problem is, it's not even really that people, it's not necessarily that people are, how do I even say this? And it's going to sound messed up when I say this. It sounds like I'm getting on a high horse when I say this, but I'm not. It's just this is just truth. One of the main problems with people is that it's not that people don't want to be out in nature because they're, like, afraid of it. They don't have the time or the means necessarily. It's that a lot of people are being born that they lost in, like, a certain essence of them that would draw them to certain things. That's a problem. That's actually a scary kind of problem. So it's kind of like I said, it's a very hollow and very shallow type of person and mindset. It's very mundane. Mundane's not always a bad thing, but it's like there's a point where it starts to be, like, have toxic attributes. And this is what I mean. It's a toxic type of thing. You know, it's like the culture of, you see guys who, I've talked about this before, guys who don't want to even do guy things anymore. You know, guys that they don't want to go shooting anymore. They don't want to train. They're not into martial arts. They're not into fitness. They're not into hunting. They're not into anything that, you know, a fit, natural born, strong, able-bodied man would normally be into. You know what I mean? It's like they'd rather sit home and play a video game for hours on end. And not saying that, like what I'm trying to say is, it may not be that, like, they actually don't have means. Like, it's like, see, a person like myself just doesn't have the means yet to, like, to travel, have, you know, a trusted group or whatever, that type of thing, to do certain things. So, you know, we find a way around maybe not paying certain money, and we also have means to pay certain money and get certain things done. But, you know, some people, it's like they don't have that even in them anymore. As a human being, or especially as a man, which is even kind of pitiful, you know what I mean? But that's what I mean. Like, the softening, the watering down, and the institutionalizing of a human being to where they, like, you know, the wild is just taken right out of them. You know what I mean? Like, they're born, like, to where it's like their natural parts of them is, like, stripped of them, to the point to where they want, like, no more than the phone, the video game, the next system. You know, they just want to watch, if even they want to watch sports. You know what I mean? They're not very active. Maybe they even go to the gym once a year, but maybe some of these guys not even, and women too. It's like not even, they don't even go to the gym. They just sit around all day. You know what I mean? Usually using electronics, and they're not doing it because, like, the same reasons why I have to do it. They're doing it because some of these people, it's like they have a car, they have vehicles, they have extra money, they may even know people that do certain things, and these people maybe even offered them like, hey, you want to go here, do this, do that, and they have no desire. That's what I'm talking about. And this rant is like, and I'm also talking about people to where the thing is, there's still an essence of things that are in you, but the thing is, you haven't had the right stimulus to bring that out. Like, you haven't had the right happenings for you to really find yourself. That's why this is called Find Yourself. So it's like you haven't been put out in nature, so you don't know how much you actually love it. You don't know yet how connected you are to it. Are and were. So you don't know that yet, because you weren't exposed to it long enough. No one has put you out there. You haven't seen enough things, and you haven't interacted with it in the right way for that primal part of you, both mentally, spiritually, and physically, to react to the environment and then realize that, like, oh, this is something that you were supposed to have a connection to, but you see, no one ever really, or you didn't put yourself out there or whatever, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, a person can find themselves through nature. A person can find themselves through occult practices, but also it can even be circular. Like, they can literally go down a circular spiral, or up, or whatever, however you want to say it. You know what I mean? It's like a spiraling effect, and then you start to ask questions, maybe even spiraling questions. You know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. Like, you find yourself going into more and more avenues of certain things that are supposedly fringe to people. You know what I mean? You start asking questions. And then the more questions you're asking about, the things that you are supposed to be unknown or whatever, or things that are supposed to be old, that were things like way back practices, you realize that there's so much more that could be experienced in life. But we live in it. The sad thing is, a lot of us, we don't have the means to really go on to a self-exploration, or just exploration of things type of venture. You don't have that, because you have to just get up real fast, go to work fast. By the time you get home, you're beat already. And then all you have to work with is like nonsense, Or a lot of you people out here, let's just be real, you're too intimidated by how people are going to look at you or your friends to even venture into these things, because you don't want to be an individual. You'd want to fit in more or whatever, So in certain places, this is the really sad thing. This, I just have to say it because I'm black. I have to talk about this. It's a huge problem in our culture and communities of black people. Like, it's like, there's not enough woods. There's not enough friggin' open water. People don't know how to swim, like myself included. Black people not knowing how to swim. You know what I mean? Black people that never been camping once. Black people that have never spent a night out in the woods at all. Stuff like that. Like, it's like, it's like, what? We never put it to you like this, man. Maybe you've used a gun before. Like, I've never used a real gun, thankfully, yet. But the thing is, there's people out there of other races and cultures that hunt all the time. So if you're using a hunting rifle, you're using, firearms for hunting, it's something that you're not getting the feel of it, because you're in a urbanized, very urbanized black community, and it's not making it. It's just not enough. It's not cutting it. Like, it's not even saying that you wouldn't like certain things. It's that you're not getting exposed to it. You're not exposed to it, so it's you're missing out. You don't know you're missing out, but you're missing out like hugely. Like you're missing. That's even a word. You're missing out big time. Like there's so much that you could experience, but you're not even experiencing it at all. Like you're not, you know. So it's kind of like you're isolated. But it goes again also to the money aspect of like those people don't have the means. Those who are in that type of situation don't have the means. And then you're also bombarded with, like I said, a toxic culture of peer pressure in friends and all that type of stuff. Just like I'll give you an example. So, not like an example, but I'm just going to speak kind of like loosely on some things I've noticed. So I've seen this trend amongst like younger adults or whatever, and I'm like, what's with these guys where, first off, they're soft. You know what I mean? It's like, they're soft. They can't really fight. No one taught them how to fight. They don't want to train. They don't want to learn. You know what I mean? It's like they want to listen to gangster rap and trap and all this, and, you know, but seriously, they're like soft. You know, can't fight, soft. First thing they want to do is try to pick up a gun. You know, this whole type of culture. And then it's drugs involved. People, you know, don't want to be sober, you know, disciplined. So, a lot of people, they function, but the point is, it's toxic. And one of the most toxic parts about it is you have guys running around here trying to put on this, like a facade. And the truth is, and it's the thing is this, it's actually mostly younger. Because a lot of these older guys, this is the thing. A lot of guys my age and older, especially like 50 and up or whatever, they came from a different era, you know, so a lot of people just are what they are, and they're just about what they are about, you know what I mean? They're really about some shit, you know, I'm trying not to curse, but they're not just like walking a fake walk, you know what I mean? And me included, I'm not one of those guys who just has like a fake facade, a fake walk. No, with me, you're dealing with a person who's quiet, but is real, and it's not fake. You know, but these younger guys, this is the thing. It's like this culture of drug abuse, drug use. A lot of you guys, let's just be real. All this bisexual stuff, like, I don't even know what's going on with you guys, man. What happened? Like, what happened to you guys? You can't be normal, and no one's just not normal anymore. You're bisexual, you're soft, you're fake, you can't fight, you don't want to do man things, you don't want to learn. Some of you are little punks. You can't even take constructive criticism. No one can teach you anything. No one can tell you anything, but you're fucking little girl. See, now I'm cursing because I'm just letting my mind just go. I'm just speaking on what I have to speak on. So sorry. I tried to keep it clean, but it slipped out. It's on now. Okay. So, like I was saying, you know, you guys don't even want to listen to anything. You're a bunch of fucking little punks. This is a huge problem. This is what I mean. Do you know how big of a problem that is? That's a big problem. But whatever, you know, whatever. Like, societies change, cultures change, humanity changes over time. It's just, I'm not getting behind it. I'm not getting behind that movement. Like I said before, I ranted and I said, you know, you guys with this whole, like, you're men, but you have this gay, effeminate, like, culture. I'm not getting behind that. Hell no, I'm not pushing that. I'm not accepting it. And I'm not getting behind it. Like, it's okay what you do, but I'm not going for that. Like, I try to breed that out of people. Like, I try to weed that out of people. Like, get out of here with that, man. And the thing is, someone will say, "Oh, so where do you like being home?" No. It's not that. It's not about being anti-gay. It's not it's about being anti-fucking sissy is what it is. There's a difference. You can be gay, but that doesn't mean you can't get your hands dirty. You can be as gay as you want. But you gotta learn that it's not gonna profit you to be to just be nothing and you're just a bag of hot air and you don't know how to do anything and you just have this way about you that you just like are entitled and you have this like a feminine, sissy attitude about everything. You know, that does just not work. You know what I mean? That can't work. And especially when it's like, people walking around with that type of attitude, but then putting on a facade. I'm gonna be real. Look, I didn't see, but I heard. I heard someone running their mouth yesterday, and I'm not gonna mention this person's name, but this individual got slapped. He literally got pushed and slapped across the face because he was running his mouth, man. And this is the thing. This guy runs his mouth like he's like, talks like he's the hardest this or how he runs his mouth so much. And I mean, I knew this guy isn't nothing. Like, you know, this individual, one time he was running his mouth or whatever, and I got way up in his face. You know what I mean? I was just basically telling him like, oh, so you're you know, trying to act like you're this tough guy, and you're asking people if they want to fight. And I'm thinking like, bro, I'm a fighter. I'm an actual fighter. Like, bro, I would basically destroy you. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are you? You're a clown. Like, what? Because you went to jail? No one taught you how to actually fight when you're in jail. Like, did you even really fight when you're in jail? Like, come on, man. That's what I mean. It's like that same person literally got slapped. And you know what he says? This is what I mean about this nonsense. He says, see, the thing about me is probably before you could even get to slap me, I'm already on you. I'm already knowing to defend. I already saw you with my peripheral vision. This is what I mean about the nonsense. It's like, you guys that are out here with this whole whatever culture you want to call it, you guys, you know, you act hard, you listen to gangster rap, you know, whatever, you know, you act like you're a thug, but you can't even fight. You know, first thing you want to do is try to pick up a gun. That's what I mean, that type of thing. You know what I mean? But this guy got slapped, man. I'm thinking like, and this is one of his friends, you know, like they're buddies or whatever. And I'm thinking like, he said, like, you don't ever slap me again, or, you know, just like, bro, you gotta do nothing. You know what I mean? If you're just gonna let him in, like, first off, like, was your head, and I don't mean head down, like your chin down, like you're defending, because you're trying to figure which direction this slap is coming from to turn your head the right way and turn your chin the right way. I'm not saying, no, I'm talking about, like, did you have your eyes closed and then you got slapped? How did this even happen? Like, how did he even slap you in the first place? But then, just saying, he fucking slapped you and you didn't do shit. You didn't do shit about it. And this guy is by no means this guy. He's not even a fighter. This guy is, I'm not trying to insult him, but the guy that slapped him is basically like a bisexual sissy boy. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like, get out of here with that clown shit, man. And that's what I mean about the talk. Like, people just talking, and nothing. But like I said again, this rant is not exactly about that, but that right there, all that type of crap, that type of activity, this is what I mean. That is a product of a person, like I said before, they're not exposing themselves to certain things. You know? They never, first off, like, in the combative aspect, they never trained anything. So they never understood what a fight is. You know what I mean? And how to implement things. Like, they didn't understand that. Number two, they were never put out in nature. Nature never taught them lessons. Like, they never understood, like, oh, so that's how this works. Like, physically, this is not my comfy bed. This is not my comfy car seat that I drive. This is not, you know, the side store. No, this is something entirely different. In this nature, like I said, will test you. You get what I'm saying? It's like, dig your fingers into the grooves of a tree and climb that shit with no branches, and tell me, when you try to see how high you can get, tell me how it tested you, right? You'll find out real quick how hard you are, or how natural you are. That's what I'm saying. Nature quickly tests and teaches things. Okay? That's what I mean. About, like, you know, all this coddled, soft, and even on a a spiritual level, if you're out in nature and it's, you know, calm, you don't have any supposed, like, tasks exactly, like, not saying survival, like, I'm not saying you're trying to stay out there that's another thing too, but what I'm saying is you're not trying to survive, you're just out there, right? Like I said, the meditation aspect, or the aspect of that you're training your awareness to broaden your awareness, you know. And on a spiritual level, inevitably that will start to come too, you know. But you have to spend enough time, you have to be quiet enough, you know. Another issue is like when people talking about they need noise. Like, why do you need noise? It's too quiet. How could it be too? What do you mean it's too quiet? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? What are you trying to escape or distract yourself from that you need noise around you, or you need to be numb, or you need to be drunk, or you need to be high, or need to be. This is what I mean. All that toxic shit. It's all fucking toxic. All that toxic shit that you're learning, that is, you know, you're attaching yourself, that is so quote norm and accepted. It's not all bad. It's just it's bad how do I say this? It's bad how it's affecting people. How it's affecting people is bad. And I'm gonna cut it here because it's going on long enough. This is like 31 minutes already. Usually goes on longer, but it's, you know, this is short for a rant for me. But I mean, my rants need to be even shorter because it's bullshit. But what I'm trying to say is, it's hard for me to articulate. It's like what I'm trying to say is if you're I found the words. I'm gonna say it. If you are not productive because of what you're doing, that's a huge issue too. Some of you people out here, like I said, functioning. You know, you're very, you know, you're pretty much addicts, but you're functioning addicts. So, you know, respect to that. Like if you're actually functioning and you're still an addict, I'm not saying you should be an addict, but at least if you're functioning, that's better. But what I'm saying is, now if you're straight up unproductive and you have all this toxic shit going on, that's when you need to fucking cut it, man. You need to cut all that shit off. Like, if you're unproductive and you realize, like, you know, you're ruining things, you're ruining relationships too, you're ruining all this, like if you're ruining constantly, like ruining things, and you're putting yourself in a hole, even if it's like serious shit, like for instance, I'm not trying to judge people, but I just gotta keep it real, bro. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Like, I have to keep it 100. Like getting girls pregnant and shit too, like, you know, and you can't even afford nothing your damn self, but now you have, nah, bro. I'm telling you, it needs to be an intervention. Everything has to, like, it has to change. It just has, and I'm not saying that anything I'm prescribing is the solution to change. I'm just saying it's been proven over time that some of the very things I'm talking about has a discipline-like effect that will straighten some certain people up. It doesn't work for everyone, but certain people, it'll keep them on a better path, and it'll give them things that will make them a better, stronger person rather than like a worse, weaker, lower, more lowly person. You know what I mean? Just saying. So, you know, like I said, the title of this rant is called Find Yourself. And I'm not saying I'm a person who is like a complete person, because come on, man, there's so much stuff that I have to learn and still learning, and like, so I would never say that I completely, but what I'm saying is to go on a path of finding yourself for the better, not for the worse. You need to start somewhere. So this video is like race or rant. This is really for those who are like the type of people who I'm talking about, that have, like, you know, especially if you know that like you need to do other things and something's holding you back, like you think, oh, you know, it's kind of, I don't necessarily want to be that person, or that seems weird, or like, nah, well, I'm trying to tell you, like, you know, you should probably give yourself a chance regardless, because I don't think you know what you're really setting yourself up for if you don't. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in that position. You just don't. And on like, it was kind of comedic too, like the slap thing, but that's like an actual physical, tangible example of a metaphor like of the position that, I mean, no one will want to be in, but like you know, think of it like that, of life, you know, life slap, or you being older and then realizing that life has given you a slap in the face because of your own decision. Like, it's like, you know, I'm just saying, that's not something that I think anyone wants to, you know, no one wants to be in that position. So try. That's my whole thing. I'm not always saying you could just succeed at anything, or anyone could, but I'm just saying try. You know, it's just give it a try. You know, and dare to be different. You know, don't be the same old classic nobody, or I'm not saying you can't be because I'm a nobody. Nothing's wrong with being nobody. In fact, I kind of like not having a lot of attention on myself. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like I want to have a YouTube channel because I want that lifestyle, and I like making content, and realize that it could be really fun to have ads and things like that and make money and have fun and make content and be artistic. But I also realize that, like, I'm not the type of guy who wants a lot of attention. I'm the person who wants to be left alone and likes to enjoy people that generally I want to invest things in, and not just be this person who is like popular or whatever. So a lot of people that honestly are just, you know, annoying would be all up in my face. You know what I mean? So that's the end of the rant. The title is Find Yourself. This is Steve's Art and Fun channel. Like, comment, and sub. And hit the bell icon. And have a good one.